Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm bringing you one of my last TIFF reviews, finally. I mean, it's taken forever to get through these, and that is going to be Babygirl, written and directed by Halina Reijn, starring Nicole Kidman, Harris Dickinson, Sophie Wilde, and Antonio Banderas. And this follows Nicole Kidman, who plays a high-ranking CEO in New York, as she enters this sordid love affair with a younger intern and the very controlling dynamics that lie therein. And I was very intrigued to see this movie because Halina Reijn, her last film, if you remember and been following me for some time, Bodies, 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 I absolutely loved when it came out in 2022. So naturally I was looking very much forward to her next project. And so I knew I had to get a ticket when the screenings rolled around for the Toronto International Film Festival. And I've got to say, I certainly didn't enjoy it as much as that movie. But before I get into the reasons why, what did I love about this film? Well, first and foremost, Nicole Kidman is an absolute force to be reckoned with. One of her most emotionally vulnerable and complex performances, I think. I think it's probably one of her best roles of her career. She's called on to do a lot here that's very, very specific. And on one hand, she has to play a very, upright, very determined CEO type, and then be completely submissive and meek the next. It's really such an interesting performance from Nicole Kidman that won her the Voldy Cup at the Venice Film Festival, which she unfortunately could not attend because her mother passed away. Much condolences to you, Nicole. And I think that this film has gotten a lot of Oscar buzz for her performance. Now, do I think she could be nominated? Yes, I do. I do think it is, as I said, one of her best roles, probably since Being the Ricardos, and I know not a lot of people are huge on that nomination. I thought she was great in that film. So if she can get nominated for that, she can certainly get nominated for this. I wouldn't personally put her in my top 5, but I wouldn't really argue it too much if she did get into the Oscars. And I think the other performances are really, really great here as well. Harris Dickinson, of course, this is the role where I think he's really gotten to shine the most because he is such a manipulative force in this movie. And I think the dynamic between him and Kidman, their dialogue is just so unpredictable and wild and just totally inappropriate considering the circumstances, but he plays it so well. And that's what I love. He's kind of like this guy who's lower on the totem pole. He's just a mere intern, but yet he has all the power in the relationship. And I think Harris Dickinson plays into that so well. And he really is kind of unpredictable every time he shows up on screen. And that's probably the biggest thrill of watching this movie. What is he going to do next to her? And then, of course, I have to mention Sophie Wilde, who I didn't even recognize from Talk to Me. So that was quite an interesting shift, if I've ever seen one, playing a completely different character with a completely different demeanor, to the point that, as I said, she kind of disappeared into this role. And it's not a huge role or anything, but I do really enjoy her presence in this film. And of course, Antonio Banderas, who I think gives one of the best performances of his career. And he really gets a few moments to truly shine at the end of this movie. And I mean, I think he's worthy for a Best Supporting Actor nomination just on paper, but considering how deep the field is this year, I don't think he's going to get it, and that's okay. But I really did want to shout him out because he really is tremendous in this film when he is on screen. And what is so effective about this film is the way it explores this dynamic, especially in the workplace, and kind of the ideas it brings up about how females are supposed to be setting an example, or people believe that they should have a certain sort of image that they're supposed to have. And I love how the movie kind of brings up the ethics with that in a very important way, in a discussion that I think is definitely very thought-provoking and needed to be had. And the movie really calls into question a lot of her actions, and of course a lot of what people expect of her, being who she is, a career woman, if you will. And I think that was probably the most interesting part of the movie. And of course, her dynamic with Harris Dickinson. But where I was kind of on the fence about this movie is how hard it goes. Look, sure, it's not going to be Fatal Attraction. And I probably don't want it to be. But at the same time, I thought this could have gone to a bit more crazy territory. And I think this ends up feeling a bit tame by comparison. Don't get me wrong, there's some real steamy scenes. Like, Nicole Kidman's pushing 60 and she's still as hot as ever. I mean, go see the movie just for her alone, my goodness. But I don't think that this dynamic really resolves in a way that I thought it was going to. And I suppose you could give the movie credit for that, but when the movie kind of ended, I was like, that's it? Like, it just felt very unfulfilling to me by the end. And so while I enjoyed watching the film, it wasn't anything that I think is going to ultimately stick with me to that level. There's certainly moments that I will not forget. Especially the one needle drop, George Michael's song, that's all I'll say. Was very unexpected, but very, very peak. But I think another thing with this movie is, too, I think it is a little on the nose about some of the ideas that it's presenting. And it's like, yeah, we get it. You know, we're smart enough to understand this if you know anything about sexual politics. And if you know anything about just human dynamics in general. I mean, it is pretty obvious what they're portraying here, and they definitely spell it out for you. And there's certain things in the narrative that I don't believe. Like, she says that Antonio Banderas never made her have an orgasm. Like, really? It's Antonio Banderas. I mean, come on. I mean, so, you know what I mean? There's stuff like that that kind of dips within the realm of unbelievability. But overall, I did enjoy Babygirl. It was certainly a fun time, and it was a wild ride to watch in theaters, even if it does ultimately feel a bit more tame than I expected. And I just wish that Reijn had pushed it a little bit further. But regardless, I'm going to give Babygirl a strong 7 out of 10. It's still a very enjoyable movie, and I certainly think you guys should check it out when it hits theaters this Christmas. Yes, it is a bit of a Christmas movie, though I don't know if I would consider it necessarily a Christmas film, because it doesn't really play much into the themes or the narrative whatsoever. But yeah, if you've seen Babygirl, let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. And if you're watching this after Christmas, hope you had a good holiday, and let me know what you think about it as well. And please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. I've got one more TIFF review, well, at least for now, and that's going to be Mohammad Rusufov's The Seed of the Sacred Fig. Very excited to talk about that film. Definitely one of my most anticipated going into the festival. And be on the lookout for that and so much more. I will talk to you guys very soon.